1.5 years after its release, the Moza HGP Shifter still stands proudly as one of the most widely recommended budget H-pattern shifters across the internet. My question is, why is that so? And is this little guy actually worth its near $150 price tag? Disclaimer in description. But before then, what makes the HGP Shifter so different from its competition? Well, for starters, its $150 price is pretty incredible for what you get in the box, all things considered. With you receiving the all-aluminium shifter itself, as well as the all-metal shift knob, the USB-B cable, and RJ45 cables to connect this either directly to a PC or to a Moza base, as well as all the mounting screws and tools. Moza have also included a few really nice and neat features that add to its high-quality perception, like the interchangeable shift knob, leather boot, and locked reverse and 7th gear that, I'll be frank with you, have saved my engine from complete destruction more than once. Now, to be honest, I was fully expecting this to be an absolute pain to mount onto my rig, as I also have the Moza HGP handbrake, review on that soon, and a non-profile rig. But thankfully, Moza thought of this, and have not only included cutouts on the front and back, but have also included threaded holes on the underside of the shifter as well. And if you don't have a rig, like a lot of peeps out there, whether that be for space or budgetary constraints, that's fine as well, as Moza also sells $30 table clamps for either their shifters or handbrakes on their website. This already puts this way above some of the other shifters I've owned during my time sim racing, like the Thrustmaster TH8A, probably one of the worst value for money shifters on the market. And we haven't even gone out on circuit yet. From here, it's as simple as mounting it onto a rig, plugging it in through either the included RJ45 cable to a Moza base, or straight to a PC using the aforementioned USB-B cable. Once plugged in, you'll need to download the Moza Pithouse software and calibrate it once in the software. As I've mentioned in my last review on the Moza R5 bundle, the Moza Pithouse software is a fantastic tool to both calibrate and customize any Moza peripheral, though it seems that with the simple nature of the HGP shifter, that is not the case here. The only tweaks you can really make here are calibrating the shifter's gear detection, and if you own Moza pedals and have them plugged in, you're also granted access to Moza's proprietary intelligent downshift feature, which, as the name would suggest, auto-blips the throttle upon downshifts yet again if you have Moza pedals plugged in, though I haven't really found myself using this feature very often during my testing. One thing the Moza Pithouse software cannot do, however, is shift your subscription feed up a gear by subscribing to SimPulse, although I wish it could. It's completely free, helps me out a bunch with the algorithm, and pushes me to create more reviews and content on SimPulse. Thank you. With that awful joke aside, how does the Moza HGP Shifter actually feel out on circuit, stage, or out on the open roads? Well, to start, the sturdiness of this shifter is rock solid. At no point did I feel any play, movement, or wobble while shifting in or out of gears. With me giving a quick shout out to the locked 7th and reverse gears, where you have to push down to get into gear, that yet again saved my engine more than a few times, to say the least. As well as the lack of movement during shifting, the feeling of the shifter during its actuation is simply fantastic, with a deliberate feeling clunk going into each gear, and I honestly have no complaints as far as the shifting is concerned. I also find the fact that the gears are counted as you enter the gates to be a neat feature, as it works really nicely with the feeling of the shifter and the pressure in which the shifter goes into gear. In comparison to other shifters I've driven in both the high and low end, this is probably 90% as good as some of the highest end handmade shifters like the BDH Bazooka that I had the chance to test at the ADAC Sim Expo, with the only real disadvantage being its slightly larger size in comparison to other models and its relatively low resistance while going into gear. Though in comparison to a shifter I used to daily drive, the Thrustmaster TH8A, I have found this to be a significant upgrade despite its lower price. From the quality construction to fantastic feel, it's been a huge uplift to the feeling of shifting gears out on circuit. Now, you might be thinking that I've already exhausted all of the pros of this shifter, but I still have more to get to, with the overall ergonomics of this shifter also being great, with the nice and tall lever and shift knob having 3 indents helping to improve the grip of the shifter while quickly grabbing it out on circuit. Honestly, I'm grabbing at straws here trying to find any sort of negative about this shifter. And to be honest, the only real flaw that I found in this is that there are other higher end models that have sequential modes built in. But with all of that considered, would I recommend the Moza HGP H-pattern shifter to any of you watching? Well, as I've just mentioned, the build quality is superb, mounting is fantastic, the feeling of going into gears is fantastic. Honestly, I have no faults or issues with this shifter at all, and it will definitely stay on the rig in lieu of my previous H-pattern shifter, the TH8A, for the time being. And for its $150 price tag, you really cannot go wrong in 2024 going into 2025. Subscribe.